What's it like living as a female expat in Asia? If I'm traveling solo, is it safe for me? And what's the dating scene like in Southeast Asia for a woman of my age? And let me tell you, it's pretty crummy, but there's a video about that. If those questions or anything about being an expat in Asia are of interest to you, welcome. My name is Wendy, and for more than 3 decades, I have lived and worked in 5 different countries in Asia. And I still live and work in Asia, now in Thailand. And today I want to cover a topic that is quite specific to women, but if you are a guy that's watching this and you have a lady in your life, perhaps you'll find it interesting as well, because I want to talk about women's health and the costs between having checkups in another country and in Asia. And before I begin, a disclaimer: I've only ever had medical treatment in the countries that I've lived in. And so the countries that I've lived in are Singapore, Macau, Hong Kong, Malaysia and Thailand. So that's where I've had medical treatment. But I have got some figures on other countries that I've whipped off the internet just to explain the different costs and what you can expect in other parts of Southeast Asia as well. What I'm talking about primarily today are 2 particular things that you would get checked as a woman. And one of those is a mammogram, including the ultrasound, and the other one is a pap smear. And here I'm talking about the thin pap smear. I know that you can have other ones as well that's more extensive and it costs a little bit more money. But let's just quickly break down the costs in Southeast Asia, which may explain why medical tourism in a place like Thailand, increasingly Vietnam and in Malaysia, just continues to expand. Now, this topic comes up for me. It's a little bit personal because over Christmas time, my daughter, who's an adult, and her partner came to Thailand to stay, and they had a whole range of checkups done in a big bundle package at a local hospital chain called Bangkok Hospital, which is a private company. So it's, medical care for profit, just like many places in the world. And the reason that they had all of the checkups done here, even though they live in the States, they have insurance and they have good jobs, is because the cost, and more importantly, the fact that they could get in and see specialists on the day and get answers and have consultations very, very quickly, which I know in other countries can be an issue. So when I thought about this, I thought, okay, let me just break it down for you a little bit. So if you're thinking about moving here, even if you're coming as a tourist, this might be of interest to you. So every year I go and have a mammogram, including the ultrasound, and a pap smear. And that's not a requirement medically. In my adopted home country, I'm a Kiwi, but in Australia, they don't recommend that you go and have this procedure done every year. It's every couple of years. I'm 57 and I am big chested, so this is relevant to me. But the reason that I do it is because twice a year in Thailand, they set up, this particular chain sets up a bundle package as a celebration for Mother's Day, which is celebrated as the Queen's birthday, and another time, I think it might even be Father's Day. And the package includes, like this, like a pap smear and a mammogram and a something or something. And the packages are reduced. So I'm talking about these packages now, but be aware that even without the package, the extra money would be it'd be another, let's say 30%. That's as much as you're paying. So I'm going to break this down into US dollars, even though I operate in Thai baht, because it kind of comes across the board. What I pay for a mammogram, including the ultrasound, a consultation afterwards, and then a thin pep, did I say it was called, pap smear, is 4,400 Thai baht. And that is about, the exchange rate is about 32, 33 US Thai baht on the US dollar. And so we're talking about 100 and something US dollars, 130 something. My math is terrible. And that's what that costs. And that's why I have it done every year, because for peace of mind, it costs nothing. It takes literally less than half a day. I mean, you're in and out. I speak to a very well qualified Obgyni who speaks fluent English, and I have peace of mind for the next year. And this is why these things are popular. So let's have a look at some of the other countries. And this is just information I've taken from the internet. You can search it out for yourself, but here's how it runs. And in a minute, I'll talk about public hospitals and whether they are really scary in Asia or whether it's manageable for you. So let's have a look. In Malaysia, if you are going to have similar things to what I've just talked about there, you're going to pay between where is it? Here it is. For a mammogram, you're going to pay up to about 55 US dollars in a public hospital for just the mammogram. That's not with the ultrasound. So all in all, maximum you might pay about 100 US dollars. For the pap smear, it's going to cost you 33 US dollars to have a pap smear in a public hospital. In the Philippines, it's pretty similar, between 35 and 140 dollars US, depending on if you're going to a private hospital or a public hospital. Pap smears around about 35 US dollars, pretty similar to Malaysia as well. In Vietnam, they have they do the bundles, but when you get a checkup, often you can get absolutely everything from top to bottom. But the basic with a mammogram and the ultrasound and that kind of thing, and a pap smear, around about 150 US dollars, which is not too dissimilar to Thailand. If you just have a pap smear in a public hospital in Vietnam, believe it or not, it costs $8. That's really cheap by anybody's standards. Now, if you're not from the States and you're watching this video, let me give you a little price comparison for you from the States, so that you get an idea of why this is important for people. So in the States, it costs between 200 and 550 US dollars for a mammogram, depending on your insurances and what you're doing in a private setting, and a pap smear might be up to 200 US. So you can see why medical tourism is a big deal in Southeast Asia, and ever so much growing, and in Thailand it's been around for a long time. Thailand is well recognized in the field of medical tourism. But let's talk about public hospitals for a second. Now, I've never needed to use a public hospital in Thailand, in fact anywhere in Asia while I've been an expat. Having said that though, a neighbor of mine came off a motorbike, and I took his wife up to the hospital. We checked it all out, and it's a public hospital. Public hospitals are public hospitals. They're not always, they don't always play Mozart piping through the sound system, but the care I cannot fault at all. This gentleman is an older man. He'd come off his motorbike. He had, they did an MRI on him. They x-rayed his body up and down. Big, tall guy, older Australian guy. And he was in hospital for a couple of days. He just had scratches and cuts and things. They wanted to dab things on him. He had to share a room, and he paid less than 200 Australian dollars for a 5-day visit. That's it. So this brings the question about, why do people always have these GoFundMe things when they come to Asia? Okay, firstly, do not come to Asia without some insurance. All right, you're crazy, because accidents can happen, and you should have at least good travel insurance. It doesn't cost much money, and any other kind of insurance you feel that you might need, just in case, just to be safe. And why do people have GoFundMes? Because maybe they don't get insurance and they have a really bad accident, and that does cost money. If you're in a coma for 2 months and you're being cared for, that's going to cost a lot of money. I don't understand why people don't get basic travel insurance if you're traveling. And it's part of the visa requirement if you live in Thailand, that you must have insurance. And that makes it hard for people over a certain age. Once you're over 70, the premiums start to go up, but it's worth it. Can you use the public hospitals in Asia? Absolutely, you can. The locals do, and they survive it, all right? The sheets might be a little bit frayed on the edges, but you'll be okay. So if you need to go to a public hospital, that's okay. All to say that if you are thinking about having some checkups, and you're even going on a holiday for a little bit, why not do that? It's a great way to save a lot of money and to have some peace of mind. I hope you found that helpful. If you've got any comments, please do leave them down below. If you would like to share this video with someone, or click subscribe or like, that would really help the algorithm and help me to know that this is the right direction that my channel is going in. And I want to say a big cheerio to all of my new subscribers. I've had a bunch lately, so it's lovely to have you with me. Have a wonderful day. I'll try not to be attacked by this bird that's been in my video as well. And I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.